I'm announcing today a new path consistent with today's ruling to provide student debt relief to as many borrowers as possible, as quickly as possible. We will ground this new approach in a different law than my original plan, the so-called Higher Education Act. That will allow Secretary Cardona, who's with me today, to compromise, waive, or release loans under certain circumstances. This new path is legally sound. It's going to take longer, but in my view, it's the best path that remains to providing for as many borrowers as possible with debt relief.
Now, according to Biden's sycophants, I was going to call them fans, but I think sycophants is a better term for supporting President Biden, without shame. According to them, he's trying his hardest, but unfortunately for them, that's really not the case. Now, Biden's POTUS account on Twitter tweeted these out. Starts here that says, in the wake of today's Supreme Court decision on student loan relief, we need a new way forward and we're moving as fast as we can. Here's what's next. First, I'm announcing a new path to provide student debt relief to as many borrowers as possible, as quickly as possible, grounded in the Higher Education Act. Just moments ago, Secretary Cardona took the first official steps to initiate this new approach, and then he tweeted this out. Second, we're creating a temporary 12-month on-ramp to repayment. That is not the same as a student loan pause, but during this period, if you miss payments, this on-ramp will temporarily move the threat of default or having your credit harmed. This fight isn't over, but Astra Taylor, who is the co-founder of an organization you've probably heard of, the Debt Collective, shot back, dropping this reality on President Biden. Astra tweeted out, not fast enough. The problem is speed. This plan buys time for more baseless, bad faith, billionaire-backed lawsuits to get lined up with rogue judges eager to block anything that helps working people. Under HEA, you can cancel debt immediately. That's what fighting looks like. Now, I mentioned Biden's sycophants at the beginning, and who better than the Pod Johns to mention at this time, because John Favreau is a former Obama speechwriter, tried to stump for Biden on his delayed approach. He tweeted this out. Joe Biden is doing everything humanly possible to give people student debt relief. But honestly, as one of the people who's massively impacted by this Supreme Court decision, I stood to have $20,000 of my student loans forgiven. It doesn't feel like he's doing that. And he was quickly checked by the Debt Collective on Twitter, who quote tweeted him and said, this is in fact wrong. Biden is not doing everything possible. To be honest, this action is perfectly designed to be the worst case scenario. He is resuming interest in payments voluntarily. And as for relief, this rulemaking will take at minimum several months. They also tweeted this out. Anyone pushing this action is fighting for you or doing everything possible, either doesn't understand the rulemaking process or is lying to you. The corrupt Supreme Court sucks, Republicans suck, but they aren't resuming your payments. Biden is. This alone is his mess. And as it stands, an astronomical number of student loan borrowers can't afford to even make payments. Check out this headline from Business Insider last week. The restart of student loan payments is going to pressure the strong US consumer, as 34% of borrowers say they'll be unable to make payments. And Jackson, I think I'm probably one of those borrowers. And so many of us are not gonna be able to do this. We've gotten used to the status quo of not having to pay them, and Biden's new rule that he's trying to make, it's a long process. They're exactly right. Rulemaking is not quick. There's multiple steps that you have to go through, and you are legally obligated to go through them. So he has the authority. Shouldn't he just forgive student loans?
Well, absolutely, and for argument's sake, if he wanted to say, if I were to take an executive action, it would be challenged in the court. Just him taking those actions and really putting forth that effort would really make a difference, not just for his reelection campaign, but also for the Democratic establishment as a whole. Because if that were to have went through, that would have been Joe Biden's signature achievement for his reelection campaign and probably for his entire presidency. But now he's going to have to find somewhat of a different strategy in terms of selling policy to the American people. But you pointed out, and all the evidence pointed out, that basically he's just like, oh, well, the Supreme Court turned it down, so we're just gonna go ahead and resume everything. People can't afford it, but nonetheless, people are gonna have to go right on ahead and keep on paying it. But at the end of the day, if there isn't a very strong political push for this, not just on the federal level, but every level of government, then nothing's going to change. And also, we need to really look at the systemic problems as a whole so that the debt doesn't reaccrue itself, even if it were, all deleted right now. So there's a lot of work to be done, and Biden just isn't showing any initiative or sense of urgency for any of it.
Exactly, especially when forgiving student loan debt it's a policy victory and it's a political victory, which is something that he and the Democratic Party desperately need right now. As we see the Trump support ramp up and the Biden support taper off, and the polls aren't looking very favorably to him. So do something big, go hard or go home, and it really feels like he's just going home.